From the Middle is proud to be a founding member of Odd Pods Media. Hey Middlers, welcome to episode number 145 of From the Middle. We are a comedy, culture, entertainment, and interview style podcast hosted by three middle-class guys living in the middle of America in the middle chapters of life with a point of view that's somewhere in the middle. We are super excited to have a fourth chair and friend of the show on this week's episode. Ray the Barber is hanging out with us, and we talk about all kinds of stuff from going to Columbus Crew games to what's going on in geek culture. We talk a lot about the new film, The Batman, and talk about the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer that dropped this week. Super exciting stuff. Lots of good discussions, lots of good laughs, and you're in for a treat because he's got a silky smooth voice. Enjoy this week's episode. Bye.
Oh, for the love. Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it? You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved.
From the Middle after dark over here.
Just throw out a little bit.
A little
The
throw
equivalent of sharding,
but yeah,
for
like,
your mouth.
Like burp snort. Hey, I kind of can really do that. Like I hiccup and then I burp. I go I can do that a little bit. I don't fart though. Can't do it.
That's staying in.
That's
staying in right there.
That's for the mesothelioma. Is that what it? No,
Yeah.
That's not. That's
Those are the
that's the lung
commercials.
disease.
Yeah, it's
Misophonia?
Misophonia.
Misophonia.
Miso.
Misophonia is the condition where certain people, if they hear someone chewing ice or chomping on their food, they become enraged and want to throat punch them. And I'm pretty sure my wife has it. Because anytime I make any noise with my, or like what you hear, like
you do the what is that? The throat.
Banana noises.
it infuriates them and they can't stand it. And misophonia.
The what is that? Like the throat music, like yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey.
Oh, a didgeridoo?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hey, what's going on?
here we are. So here's a story for you. Back in the days, well before COVID, I was trying out different barbers at this one barber shop in a town called New Albany because it was in between where I lived and where I was going. And I stopped into the place, went through a couple of different barbers. Everybody was fine. But then one of the times I went and came back, my wife told me, that's the best one you've had yet.
Heyo.
That's the best one you've had yet. So I went, I kept going to that place, kept seeing that dude there, and he moved on to another barbershop, which was actually in the town where I live.
Even better.
And so I saw him there, I think just once, and then COVID happened. And then I didn't see him for a very long time. He's since moved on to another place, basically working for himself now. His name is Ray the Barber. And he is a guy that I sit down in the chair and we talk about Marvel films and Star Wars and Dave Chappelle and sneakers and all kinds of things that I'm interested in, that he's interested in. I was like, I do a podcast. He's like, when am I doing it? And I'm like, next time we record, because you're an awesome guy. So ladies and gentlemen, the man responsible for my fade, Ray.
I really love this too because that's you are the master splinter to his Ninja Turtle. Like the barber relationship is very important.
He's never touched my Ninja Turtle.
And I'm glad that you're here. It's so nice. It's so nice to see the man behind the Kendall. And
The Kendall.
I mean with the barber, the guy cutting Kendall.
The man behind the Kendall.
So glad to have you, man. Thanks for
Ray.
joining.
Super
I'm
excited
glad to
with
be
us.
here, man. I'm very, very excited, nervous at the same time.
Nothing to be nervous about. So last time Kendall got a cut, he walked in and I was like, "Oh, nice cut." And I noticed the fade and I said, "Do you mind if I ask, does your barber happen to be black? Because not a lot of white dudes There's not a lot of white guys that can do a fade that good. And he's like, he is, as a matter of fact. But except for maybe Baby Blake.
I'm quarter white.
Okay, but maybe Blake's the only one that can, the only white dude who can rock a fade. But
no, a guy by the name of Jeff Hours. He's the, and I'm not gonna say second best white dude that's ever cut hair, but he's dope.
yeah,
Him and Blake in school were the only two white guys I let cut my hair when I had hair.
which is saying something. That's awesome, man. Glad to have you. And you're into sneakers and you're into geek culture and movies and shows and stuff. So you're a perfect fit for our show. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
All right. As off the top, we mentioned that you're a barber. We're going to get to talking about all kinds of other things. Actually, let's do around the horn. Let's do around the horn first, right? So Kory, I know that you went somewhere exciting today.
Yeah.
Give us that story.
I'm kind of afraid to tell the story. So one of the podcasts in our podcast sort of family, not the official Odd Pods Media Network, but the podcast family, Grief Burrito out of the UK. It's a gaming podcast. I was telling him what I was about to do this weekend, and he's like, man, you're getting bougie. And I was like, what? So I got the opportunity. One of my buddies, Brad, who's been on our podcast before, he's very high up in marketing over at Nationwide. And he had club level access to the Columbus Crew soccer game today. And I've never been to the new stadium. So we got to go to the new stadium, and then you take an elevator down to field level, and they scan your tickets, and you get to walk in. All you can eat food, all you can drink drinks and beer, and you walk out of the clubhouse, and you're right on the pitch, like right where the players are. And then they have pitch side Scots, well, they're officially called the Scots pitch side seats are, there's not even a wall between you and the field. There's just a rail. So I got to go to a Crew game today and experience what it was like to be a VIP. I didn't pay a dime, and thank you so much, Brad, for the once in a lifetime experience, but it was pretty cool, and I think I'm like Columbus's biggest Crew fan right now because it was a blast.
You bought a scarf.
I was about to say, you get a
Brad
scarf
gave
for
me
it.
the scarf. We beat Toronto. It was just a ton of fun, and I'm like, man, once you do things like that, like the right way, you're spoiled from then on out. It's like if you ever get upgraded to first class, it's like you can never go back to coach again. That was a really good one.
So good.
Oh, shit.
Fantastic.
Excuse my language.
That was beautiful.
Came out of nowhere.
That's where the bougie comes in, right?
That's
there,
where the
Kory.
bougie. Yeah.
The bougie comes in when you start saying to yourself, "I can never
Okay, so it's
sit
not
in the bleacher sitting."
It's
again.
not that I got to go once. It's that's now my standard for what good looks like. Okay, got
Yes,
it.
yes,
Because I didn't pay for anything. I'm not that fancy. But Brad was very generous, and we had a blast. It was a really good time. It was like 12 degrees, so we were freezing when we did go out to the seats. But you could go back in the clubhouse and
it's
cool off and grab
finally
yourself
spring in Ohio.
another beer and hot dog. So
now whenever he goes to a game, well, when I went to the game last time I was in, last time I was here, they didn't do that for me.
I didn't have to walk to my seat last time. There was an elevator.
You're gonna go to the seating attendant for the section and be like, "Excuse me, can I get a champagne, please?" Thank you.
What is this swill that you're serving me?
Yeah.
But you were saying there's a guy in the UK.
There's a guy in the UK. I came across a YouTube channel where this guy makes it his thing to get into VIP sections at Premier League soccer, Premier League football, stadiums in the UK. And as far as I know, like he's legitimately getting in, like he knows somebody, has a friend or whatever. Maybe he's paying his way into some of them. I'm not sure. But no, he goes in and he just like brings a camera with him and he's showing you like the experience at all these places. I did not realize like how like high class these club sections are. Like it's amazing. It's like it looks like a black tie event kind of stuff, but you're at a sporting event.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand those two things going together.
Yeah.
It's money.
But an interesting thing about the UK is it is illegal to be actively drinking alcohol while watching a live game. So they serve beer when you're in the club level and all the alcohol you want. But when game time starts, they actually close blinds in the bar, and then so you can watch on TV and drink, or you can put your drink down and then go outside.
Yeah.
And watch the game.
Sounds retarded.
That's
ridiculous.
interesting. Or get blitzed before you go to the game, and that's where the fights
You
happen.
can look,
Maybe.
but don't breathe. But if you close your eyes, you can breathe.
It just sounds. I don't know. I mean, are they actually like? We have some friends over there. I'm wondering if that's actually useful, or if everyone over there thinks that it's annoying, or if it's a good idea, or.
Well, that reminds
Or
me
what?
of two things. First of all, if you're on Reddit, check out the Act Like You Belong subreddit, because that's if you're into that kind of thing, like people sneaking into places that they're not supposed to belong. There's a whole. People are asking questions like, where do you get those caution vests? Or it's like, if you carry a ladder into a business, almost no one will ever, in like a black shirt and like jeans, no one will ever carry, because why else would you have a ladder
gonna try
unless
it.
you were clearly doing work?
I'm really going to try it.
So if you don't know what a Reddit is, probably don't start with that. But like if you're already there, go ahead. Also, Matt Damon was on an episode of Hot Ones, and he's talking to the host about how his wife is from South America. They obviously take soccer very seriously in the rest of the world
Yeah.
as well. And he nudged like his wife's uncle and was like, "Hey, can we go to like whatever game?" And he like wouldn't answer the question. He's like, "Well, can we go?" And the uncle finally says, "We can go. No women, no children." And he thought the uncle was joking, and it was serious because of how serious they take the games. And he describes this whole thing where there's multiple layers of fences and barriers and police. And after the game, they keep a whole section in the middle of the stadium empty so fans can't throw stuff at each other.
Jeez. Wow.
They have to dismiss one team first and give them like 15-minute head start to get out of the city and the stadium just to make sure there's no fighting. And it's wild. Like just
Fun.
This whole like tangent on Hot Ones about international soccer and in South America is really crazy.
I mean, I knew it was hardcore, but wow.
We're going to remind each other of things all day if we keep going. But I've got another. When you had mentioned bringing a ladder into a store, nobody questions a thing. We've talked about Steve Willis, Camping with Steve guy. He does stealth camping. Has a YouTube channel on it, which is like he'll go to like public parks or to like a graveyard or even like a highway median that has some woods in it, and just like go camp for a night in those places and try not to get caught. And he did one with his neighbor. They were out in the open in a state park, no camping allowed, like literally in the middle of a cleared out field. Like everybody could see them. But what they did was they put a construction light on the pickup truck. They set up scaffolding, threw tarp over it, and that was their tent. And they set up cones and caution tape around it. Nobody asked questions.
Wow.
Hilarious.
I think if you go almost anywhere with enough confidence and swagger, like, and a ladder, if you got one, like, chances are most people aren't going to mess with you. I mean, unless you need to scan like a phone or something, that's different. But like, I'm interested in seeing that subreddit, and I'm sure there's YouTube channels where people just try to get places where they're not supposed to be. Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Any other updates?
Well, I have a quick one, so I have to talk about this only because I don't know if Ray has ever experienced this video game before. But speaking of Grief Burrito and gaming, instead of one thing that I'm streaming Save Till the End, I played a lot of a game growing up called Dynasty Warriors. I don't know if you've ever heard of this game before. Okay. Kory has played it a little bit. You don't have to have played the game, but essentially imagine ancient China. Some of those people have superhuman battle abilities and some magic, essentially, is how you explain this game.
It's an open player game?
It's kind of open world. So within a battle, a rough region of a battle, it's open world. You can run around and do whatever, but then the battle's over and you move to a different space. So the funny thing is, like, it's very loosely based on history, around 150 to 200 AD or after the Common Era. If you're into that, here's why I mention it. I saw that there was a movie on Netflix based on this video game,
Which you played a lot.
I've played a lot in my lifetime
when we were kids.
And part of what makes it so quirky is the weapons, the armor, everything's very exaggerated. The soundtrack to the game is like ancient Chinese instruments with hard rock. It's like so ridiculous. So I see this trailer. And I'm like, I've got to watch this movie. I'm going to give you a few examples of how absurd it is because I think it's not for 99% of the world. But if you think something could be so bad that it's enjoyable, I think you should check it out. So here's one of the first things in the first like 10 minutes of one of the battle scenes that I saw. There's always a guy charging through the middle of battle on a horse, right? One of the random soldiers bites his horse's leg to try to get him to slow down and fall off of his horse. So that's one of the first things that was just, the horse's leg, by the way, not even like the neck, if you're going to go for something.
Right. Sounds historically accurate.
Very historically accurate. Then one of the leaders of the rebellion part shoots out smoke magic to turn the soldiers into basically zombies. Wow. That was another thing. I saw a character in the film do a backflip to get out of a valley, like hundreds of feet, like backflipped up so he could get up to his horse and ride away. And then there was another scene where three people are fighting one, and they're actually fighting on top of a flowing river. So not like standing on rocks. Like their feet are on the water moving down the river. Not that it's so shallow, their feet are on the rocks underneath the water.
Right.
They're standing on the water and fighting. And it was wonderful. There was more summoning of lightning and fire than I was expecting.
Wow.
Just incredible. So if you're up for something weird, go check out Dynasty Warriors on Netflix because
I'm gonna have to watch it.
I had such a good time watching that. It was
check that out.
Incredible. The normal game is kind of like you can charge a special attack and then you might, instead of, normally in real life, it would be one person trying to kill one person in a battle, scenario. You might use your special attack and kill 20 or 30. That makes it kind of over the top and video game-esque.
I'm more of an Assassin's Creed type guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love the Assassin's Creed.
The original, a little more realistic, and then they got a little more fantastic later in the series, right?
I like the fact that it's not just based off of one storyline. There's, Origins, which is in Egypt. Valhalla is in wherever. I don't know where it's at.
Viking.
Northern Europe.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Europe. Yeah. And
What was the pirate one? Wasn't there a pirate?
Yeah, that's
one?
Black Sails.
Black Sails.
Black Sails. That's the one I really didn't like. I was tired of being on that boat. I was getting seasick.
You need to change the scenery.
I was like, oh my God, can we get off this boat?
They didn't have cool shanty remixes yet for that game. No. So anyways, I had to throw that plug out there for Dynasty Warriors. And I'm glad you mentioned Assassin's Creed. I've never played them, but I've heard they're like tons of fun.
Listen, you gotta play the Valhalla. And Origins. You definitely gotta play that. That's my favorite.
Origins and Valhalla. All right, cool. Are you a PlayStation or Xbox guy?
I'm a both.
You're both guy. Beautiful.
I got 2 Xboxes and 1 PlayStation 4.
Talk about being from the middle. Look at that.
Awesome.
Our guests can appreciate both consoles. It's beautiful.
How about you, Kendall? What's going on in your world?
Oh, man. I knew you were going to ask that question.
Well, you said around the horn, so you should have expected it. It was
did.
eventually going to come your way.
It surprised me this week, having a podcast. So I've spent this week actually binging through a show that Ray had recommended to me called C.
I just got done watching it.
Did you?
Yeah.
So it's on Apple TV.
You gotta watch
Jason Momoa.
So fire. Like it's like just the thought of it's just people can't see. You can't see. Like you go in the house and you walking through your house and you hitting, doors and
Yeah.
So imagine just being out in the middle of nowhere, like the world. You don't know where anything, and they're having full out wars, making babies and all kinds of stuff. I'm like,
it's this weird. It's like a post-apocalyptic universe kind of thing.
Okay.
That what had happened was
What happened was
a virus had killed off the entire human population, save for about 2 million people.
Okay.
And the entire world are now left. And when those people emerged, they emerged blind. So imagine a world, and centuries later, after this virus killed everybody. So now we pick up in the series C, centuries later. So they haven't had the infrastructure or anything to keep any kind of industry going. So we're talking like people living in huts, very tribal, and hunting for their food very crudely. Like we're like getting close to caveman, right? Living here. And no one can see. And the idea even of sight is heretical. And it's like this it's like mysticism to even talk about people that can see.
They call them witches.
They start calling them witches. So these people, and this isn't a spoiler, these people kind of start popping in and out that a few of these people can now see. They have the gift of sight. And so now there's been an army hunting out these people who can see, calling them witches to kill them.
So it's actually one guy right now whose name is John Morrell, and he has relations with I can't remember the lady's name, but she bears his 2 children, which are twins, boy and girl, and they actually can see too.
Yeah. So this is all early on. This is not spoiler stuff. Like the first episode, you'll learn all that. But it started slow for me. Like I had to convince myself to watch episode 2 of season 1. But by the end of episode 2, like I was running through it. Like I just started on Monday night. Yeah. And I finished season 1.
Is there just one season out right now, or is there 2? Okay.
2.
Got it. Man, that sounds cool. I love the post-apocalyptic genre, and I love when they put a spin on it like that. Like Walking Dead, I got a little tired of that after a while, but the post-apocalyptic genre is so fun for me because it's just like, how people make decisions and how you survive.
I actually can't wait for it to happen because I have
You're ready?
You're ready?
I have a case with all my post-apocalyptic weapons.
Nice.
I actually have a machete in my car right now.
Okay. Fantastic.
All right.
Listen, please, to the post-apocalyptic environment, please also bring your haircutting stuff because I imagine in a world where everybody's blind, the haircuts have to be atrocious. I mean,
oddly enough, no.
Dude,
there's some questions I have, which is
how do they still look
Time
so
out.
good?
I wish that there were more people just randomly falling off of cliffs. I feel like there's not enough of that in the movie.
It's not.
Or in the movie.
There's just really bad art.
But one of the guys, he has a straight body, and then he has the shag in the back. It's just luscious.
Yeah.
It's Jason Momoa, right?
No. It's
Not his character,
guy.
but he's in the show. I mean,
he's in.
Yeah.
His name is Barber Voss, and he's a beast.
I feel like the bald guy, is he the older, wiser? Is that his role?
No, he's actually a general looking for the kids.
He's the witch hunter.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
The general of the army that's looking.
Interesting.
What was the Sandra Bullock
lush mullet guy?
What was the Sandra Bullock movie where
28 Days?
Birdhouse, where her
Bird.
Oh, where they couldn't talk.
They couldn't talk to each other. Was that right? Or was her kid blind or something?
It was Bird Box.
Bird Box. Yes, that was good.
And she called the girl and the boy.
Yeah,
as their names.
Yeah.
Wild.
I like movies where there's like somebody's missing the one specific sense, and then the 2 movies with what's his head from The Office, Jim. The 2 movies that people really liked.
Yeah,
where they couldn't talk.
Emily Blunt, his
Quiet
wife.
Place.
Yeah, his
and
wife.
A Quiet
is
Place.
Oh yeah,
too.
both
John
of those
Krasinski
are
and
fire.
Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
Quiet Place. Yeah.
Those they turned out to be. I thought it was going to be something else. It was the first one isn't as dope as the second one.
I heard the second one was really
The
good.
second one is really graphic. Like you actually see the monsters. Like they getting in people killing. You watch them. There's a scene in there where they're playing baseball. Full on little town baseball, and all of a sudden, havoc just breaks out and you start seeing them snatching people up
because you barely see the monsters in the first one, right? Yeah.
At the very end, I think. But
I wonder which is scarier. Is it scarier to not know what the monsters look like? Because a lot of movies do that. They'll save it towards like 3/4 of the way through or the end of the movie, you finally see the monsters. And sometimes the monster's more disappointing than your idea of the monster.
I will tell you one movie that was horrible that did that, and that was the M. Night Shyamalan Lady in the Water. I hated that.
I didn't see that
You
one.
never seen that?
No, I don't like his movies.
No, don't get me wrong. At the end, the monster was dope.
Yeah.
It looks, but like, dang, show the monster. I'm tired of.
All right.
It'll
So Ray
show-
wants to see the monster.
It'll show a foot, and it'll show a nose, an eyelash. I'm like, I want to see the monster.
Got it.
I'm with you. I enjoy the creativity
Yeah.
of seeing the monster. So for me, it's like kind of like a thinker. I start thinking like, okay, well, it's theoretically this monster can like Uber hear things and whatnot, and they're like chomping people. So this isn't, I think. And then when I see the monster, I'm like trying to put together, all right, so I see what they did with the teeth and I get that. Now,
Yeah.
So that's what I analyze things like that.
I went back. You guys know I went back and watched the Alien franchise for the first time. I had
Yeah.
never seen it. And obviously the monster is not, because it's like puppetry and this is like good CG.
It's an old-timey monster.
It's an old-timey monster, but I'm like, I was legit scared leading up till the moment I saw the monster. And now it's comical because it's the special effects haven't aged well.
Right.
But the idea of not seeing it, and sometimes the designs are, I don't know. It's like, for me, I think sometimes it's more fun to not know. But if it's done well and it's a scary monster, it's like, bring it on. Let me see some scary stuff.
I think a show. So I've watched through a lot of the newer Doctor Who, not the old black and white stuff, but I'm watching through some of the Peter Capaldi Doctor Who stuff. That's a really good example of a show that sort of embraces the absurdity, but then at times is like got some legitimate creatures, monsters, aliens that are pretty impressive. I don't know if you've ever watched any like Doctor Who or anything. Mm-mm. It'll go from a really like, there's a T-Rex in old London, 400 years ago, absurd, to like, I just watched an episode that talks about, the whole premise of the episode is, why is it that sometimes humans just talk out loud to themselves? And what if it's that we actually knew that we weren't alone when we think we're alone talking out loud to ourselves? There's the idea of like, there's apex predators. There's all these animals that have like evolved to become the best at what they do. What if there's some creature in the world that has evolved to hide from humans in plain sight better than anything else? It's essentially invisible to the human eye. So the whole premise of this being built around is that a thing? Could there be a creature that we can't see, we sense, but don't even consciously sense? Is it the thing that's under our bed that we have the dream that it grabs our leg? And it's like some legitimate like, whoa, that's...
But that comes with like Loch Ness Monster or the Chupacabra or, like, yeah, a lot of these come from stories, but then like they show evidence. Like, where does this evidence come from?
Wild. Yeah, I don't know. So anyways, it reminded me of that show because sometimes it's absurd. And then sometimes they're asking some like legitimately interesting questions from a storytelling perspective, like getting people scared or trying to think of something that we've never thought about before that can be legitimately creepy or whatever.
I think I was like, this is one of those weird corners of the internet that I found myself in once. But spinning off of Doctor Who, they said the weeping angels are some of the most terrifying predators in the entire series. They're like the ceramic statue angels you find in graveyards, but they like, I don't know because I didn't watch the show, but they're like, however they were introduced in the show is like legitimately frightening. Like, turn off the lights in one moment, turn on the lights and they're paused where they're supposed to be, and then turn them off and then turn them on and they're in a different place. And like they're getting closer to you.
Speaking of that, another show me and my wife watched. The first season, it was kind of disturbing to me. It wasn't scary, but it
unsettling.
Very unsettling. I didn't sleep right. Like I would have like nightmare. Evil.
Okay.
The TV show Evil.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
All right.
So it's about this priest, and his job is to do exorcisms and stuff like that. But he has this guy who is an atheist, and he has this woman who's like I don't know really what she does, but they're on his team and they go out to check and see. Like people would be like, "Oh, this person is possessed. We need you to go in there and check this out." And then like they want to see if this is a real possession or is this a hoax.
Yeah.
And like some stuff, like like you always like, how's that? How can you explain that?
Yeah.
And like they'll explain. Like the one guy explains, like, okay, this is how this happened.
Yeah.
And it'll be like some scientific stuff, like, oh, if you take this and put this together, this makes this happen.
Right.
And then other times, it's like, okay, well, where did that picture come from? Like it was like an episode where, like, the lady had died, and it looks like her or an angel or a spirit was lifting from her body, and he was like, well, if you put this I forget what it was. Like, I'm lost. I can't remember. But it's an example of how it happens.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it was like somebody was really possessed, and I was like, nah, I need to go to sleep. I can't sleep.
Honey, we're not going to watch this an hour before bed, okay?
I told her I wasn't going to watch it no more. I was like, no, I'm not watching it anymore.
Speaking about things that you've watched recently, I've heard that you watched The Batman. And I want to hear your reaction. But before we do that, we're going to take a really quick break and hear from one of our friends in the Odd Pods Media Network.
Hi, I'm Sam.
I'm Richie.
I'm Little Matt.
And here in the 500 Section Lounge, we are three dads who host a family-friendly weekly podcast.
Yep, we laugh, we go on tangents, and we talk to great guests.
Tangents. I don't know what you're talking about with that. You know, there are gases leaking.
All right, okay.
Yeah, we have legendary conversations from sports to history and everything in between.
So be on the lookout for what we do next.
And always be there to
grab a listen.
So I don't think Kory, Kendall, or I have watched The Batman yet. But I think all of us have seen almost unanimously positive reviews. And then Kendall mentioned, Ray, that you've seen The Batman. And I'm wondering, I heard that maybe you don't share the same sentiments as a lot of those reviews.
Not at all. I've been watching. I've watched like reviews on YouTube, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, I give it a 10 out of 10." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Okay, so
and you're a DC fan.
I like them all. I like DC. I like Marvel.
Sure.
I like Image. I like all of it.
Yeah,
I'm a Spawn. Spawn is one of my favorite characters. But the Batman, don't get me wrong. For what it was a good movie. You know, for like somebody that's never seen a Batman movie, and it was a good movie, but the Batman that like the cutthroat, like the get it done by any means necessary, this Batman was soft. He passed out twice. Like Batman don't pass out. Like, what are you talking about? He had to take an EpiPen to wake himself up.
Like Bond in Casino Royale.
Yeah.
So somebody mentioned, and I don't know if this is true, so feel free to elaborate. Somebody mentioned that this is more of a, quote, greatest detective of all time type Batman story.
I was going to say that.
That's the roots of Batman, that he was known as like a great detective, not necessarily like Bane, like he just plows through everybody with, his brute force. So is that kind of what you saw? I
will say that it is more of a detective type movie. It's not the gadget Batman, the good looking buff guy, I can do anything with your superpower. I'm rich. No, it's not that Batman. This is the gothic, skinny, need to eat. I'm emotional,
introspective.
Alfred is my stepdaddy, tells me what to eat, what to do.
Yeah, like you were telling me all this on Monday, and I was then thinking, okay, well, did they try to make Batman, but accidentally they remade Twilight?
They did. Like my wife was with me, and she was like, "Look how pale his skin is. Like it looks like it's glistening in the dark." Like,
yeah. So here's a question that I have for you, and this is something that I feel like anytime a Batman movie comes up, it's something that I want to dig into because I don't think people give it the conversation enough credit. When you're talking about a Batman movie, to me, and ranking the best Batmans, because now some people are saying Robert Pattinson might be like the best Batman ever.
I will just watch this. Me and one of my customers today, like he came in, he was like, definitely one of the best Batmans ever. I was like, bro, get out my chair. Get out my chair right now. We're done. We're not even friends anymore.
So here's the question. There's, in my mind, if I'm watching a Batman movie, and I'm more of a Marvel guy, but I want to live in a world where there's great DC movies. Like, I want that to be true. There's a difference between a good Batman and a good Bruce Wayne. And there's playing... you want somebody to play both well, but some people will say, like, Christian Bale was the best Batman. I'm like, okay... I didn't care for him at all as Bruce Wayne. Wasn't Bruce Wayne to me when I think of the character. And then people will knock like George Clooney, which understandably not the best, but I think George Clooney was a better Bruce Wayne than people give him credit for.
I'm going to tell you right now, like you said, when it comes to different Bruce Waynes, like the Bruce Wayne, like I told my dude, I was like, there's two different types of personalities. The Batman personality is straight to business, cutthroat, no compassion for anything. Like I remember on one of the cartoons, he told Robin, like, I will sacrifice you to get this job done. Like there's on the movie, he tell Catwoman, take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. Take care of yourself. And she kissed him twice in the movie. Like Batman don't get kissed.
Yeah. This
like
is
what?
Not the Batman you're expecting.
No. And then Batman doesn't do things like allow himself to be in a room full of police and they about to jump him. They was about to jump on him. Like Batman don't put himself in no predicaments like that.
He's already gone. Smoke screen grenade.
Yeah, he's
out.
gone.
Yeah, he's gone. So Batman's like the Batman should be like the Boondock Saints type. Yeah. There's no mercy.
No
vigilante
mercy.
Justice.
Yes.
And then there's the Bruce Wayne trying to play the role of like, are you the playboy, philanthropist?
Yes.
So high society type.
So we did that. We was like, I was like, hands down, we were talking about Ben Affleck as Batman. Mm-hmm. And I said, everybody said, oh, Ben Affleck was the worst Batman. Excuse me. He actually was not the worst Batman. Like, fit as far as appearance, handsome guy. He was fit. And my dude was like, oh, he's a fat Batman. We sat there, I showed him when he was working out. I'm like, Ben Affleck was cut up. He was looking real good. He was the Batman, had little scars and stuff like Batman's supposed to have because he has no powers and he's getting hurt. But then when you look at Twilight
4,
he looks like he was on meth. Like I was like, what's wrong with Batman? He on meth? Like it's bad. Yeah. But like I said, when you think of Bruce Wayne, when he walks into a room, oh, that's Bruce Wayne. He has that presence, like, oh, yeah, I'm Bruce Wayne. When Twilight came in, he looked like he was the pallbearer at the funeral. I was like,
Undertaker.
Yeah, like he was.
And I get that some of this is based off of cartoon or comic or whatever people like the most. Like I think of, old Batman is very different than if you're watching like Batman Beyond. Mm-hmm. Those are very different cartoon elements that people could fall in love with as characters.
Then saying that too, because then that goes in with the producer of the Batman and who's producing it, because you got to think Tim Burton did the first Batman, and you can see the Tim Burton in that Batman.
Right.
Like you look at movies like Edward Scissorhands and what's the scary movie? Nightmare Before Christmas. All of them look like the Batman movie with Michael Keaton. But then you go to the Val Kilmer and the George Clooney, mm-hmm. and it's more animated. Yeah. Looks real, like everything is bright, everything is cartoony. Mm-hmm. But then you go to the Christian Bale, and that's when that realistic started. And like you'll see him start out to be Batman. He's rich, so he can buy anything he wants. So like all this military grade stuff, he just spray paints it black. You see him on the
Yeah.
movie, he spray paints it black, and now he's using that stuff like, oh, I can really go buy that. If I was rich, I can go buy that. But this Batman, he was like, he had like, what is it called? The when they go off the buildings and they have like the little squirrel parachute thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like he didn't even have like, it wasn't even like bat shaped. It was just a regular suit. Like,
Yeah.
it was like somebody just like, yo, I'm gonna go be Batman today.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm gonna fix my car up. I'm gonna put my little suit on. I'm gonna be Batman. Like it was more realistic, like you
Yeah.
said, the detective type. But it was just garbage to me. Like I don't want to see that Batman. I want to see the Batman where like, oh man, I wish I can get that. This Batman now, I'm like, I can really go, make this Batman suit.
Yeah. It's so funny because I remember, sometimes long after something's come out and people have had time to digest it, opinions change, good or bad. Star Wars prequel movies being one of those. And I remember Batman Begins being generally well received, but Christian Bale's voice was so gravelly, he got really criticized quite a bit for that. And then you had the second one where he course corrected a little bit on the gravelly voice. And then I think because of everything that happened with Heath Ledger, that movie sort of him passing away and legitimately doing an excellent job as Joker, that movie sort of ended up blowing up and becoming way more popular than I think it even was when it came out. I think the combination of people forgot about Batman Begins Bale voice for the most part. The whole Heath Ledger thing, no one was disagreeing that he was an excellent Batman, and then him passing away just made it even more popular. And so those movies now, people almost put them up on the pedestal. Maybe it's because DC hasn't really been able to throw together a great series since then. But it leads me to like the whole DC extended universe thing has taken so long to try to see if they could put something together and they can't. Let's say that Batman is somewhere between what the critics are saying and your take on it, somewhere in the middle. Would you want to see Robert Pattinson continue? What does DC have to do to try to fix it? Do they reboot again? Do they just make standalone films?
They just leave that Batman alone.
Leave
it alone.
He's done.
Just
One
let
and
it go.
done.
It was 3. I honestly told him, I even told the dude yesterday, I was like, this is the first time in my life that I've watched a superhero movie and I was like, is it over yet?
Yeah.
Like it was 3 hours of why?
Yeah.
Like why is this 3 hours?
I don't know how DC can course correct at this point. Do they just make standalone movies? Is that what you'd prefer? Like you get Joaquin Phoenix one time as Joker, done. You get Robert Pattinson
That
one
was
time as
garbage, too.
Batman, done. Do you have any? Would you rather him reboot it? Would you rather him just go to animated for a while? Would you rather him, do you have any preferences? Somebody who
Just leave
legitimately
Batman
likes
alone.
DC.
Just let it go. It was the movie that, they brought it out. It is what it is. Leave that alone. Don't do another Batman movie, because then it went from Gotham City to Katrina. I was like, this is Katrina. It's Hurricane Katrina. They were sitting on top of the bit. I was like, that's Hurricane Katrina. I wasn't in Katrina, but I lived in New Orleans after Katrina to help rebuild, and I was like, that's exactly what it looked like.
So you didn't mind the great detective aspect. You just felt like he was kind of anemic as the Bruce Wayne. He was scrawny. He was kind of weak. He was kind of. So if they could maybe keep the more detective route for Bruce Wayne, that would be good. You would like that.
Yeah.
But just not maybe Robert Pattinson.
And feed Robert.
Feed
Hashtag feed Robert.
Get it.
Hashtag feed Robert.
I don't know. So we've had Michael Watson on Freestyle Comics. Do you know Michael Watson? He makes his own comics. Hot Shot is his character.
I'm not on too much social media.
He's a CCAD guy. He went to CCAD downtown and he does his own comics. Anyway, so he's been saying for a long time, like some of the best Batman stuff coming out is animated stuff. Mm-hmm. Like the new animated stuff. Like we all like the 90s cartoon, and I've not seen this new movie, and I'm with Dillon. Like I don't hate on DC. I really do think that DC has a lot of great characters and a lot of great stories to tell. So I want them to succeed. Their studio, I don't know what the problem is over there. We've talked about it multiple times. Is it just too many business people getting in the mix? But what I don't understand is these intentional choices to go, all right, yeah, you know, the Batman that's like brooding and dark and he's cutthroat and every man for himself, like, yeah, the one that everybody loves. Yeah, we're not going to do that. So we're going to do this like skinny detective. I just don't understand the intentional creative choice to take a different aspect of a beloved character and go, yeah, we're going to do a version where it's all about this other piece of his nature, where he's a detective and he's more not sure of himself and he needs to eat. Like it's such an intentional, and maybe they're trying to go, okay, we've got to try something new, because if we're too close, they're just going to say we're doing that again. But in the zeitgeist of that character, that's who we know and accept him as and like him as.
Yeah. Somebody come up with an original thought. That's what I like. I'm with it. Like, let's sit on Batman. It doesn't mean never come around and try to make another blockbuster Batman film.
Yeah.
But give it a generation.
Yeah.
Wait until the next generation and let them make it their Batman movie. Let's wait till then.
Or they can even go to Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
They can do that.
Old man Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Some writer sat around and thought, what if a soldier bit a horse? And at least they tried something, right? They took an idea and they're like, I've never seen a soldier bite the leg of a horse.
Was the horse standing, or was the horse in mid-run? Mid-run.
It was running.
So this soldier had to time the bite of a horse in motion.
I don't remember. I was so caught off
Stay still.
by the
I'm
human
trying to bite you.
biting a horse. I don't remember how he got there, but I remember seeing the gnawing of the horse leg, like you'd expect a zombie to do in a zombie movie.
Right.
Like just latch on to something, but not a zombie, just a soldier biting a horse. But somebody made a creative decision and they tried something
Stuck
new.
their neck out there.
And I appreciate it.
Have you ever seen a horse kick somebody? Like,
Heard about it.
Apparently, that's not a thing you worry about as a soldier in the middle of a battlefield. You just go straight for it. So I feel like we would be remiss if we didn't take advantage of you being a barber to ask you for some funny stories.
Oh, you have to have some fun.
So keep that in mind. Here's my tee-up question for that. And feel free to answer this either direction. What do people need to start or stop doing at the barbershop?
going to the gym and then coming to the barbershop.
Ooh, is that how common
That
is
is
that?
my pet peeve. I hate that so much.
What percentage of the time does that happen? Rough guess.
For me now,
Yeah.
none.
Oh, good.
But like I said, when I was in New Albany, that's more of the uppities.
Yeah.
Privilege. Oh, I can do whatever I want. I had actually one of the Schottensteins come see me, and
No pressure.
he comes in and like he just sits down, and I'm just looking at him like, and his hair is all greasy, wet, and I'm just like, and put these gloves on.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then after I'm done cutting his hair or whatever, because I don't, I'm new at this point in time. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. Like, oh, don't go to Ray. He's a butthole. Then he gets up and it's just like the print on my seat, like the nasty, sweaty, wet butt cheek print.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, come on, dude. Like, really?
I literally shuddered at the thought, if that makes you.
Yeah, like I had to spray my chair down with the alcohol that I put on the back of people's neck. I had to put the spray on there. And I'm just like, that's nasty, bro. I don't want to put my hands in your hair. But now I told him, I tried to say it real nice, like, hey, Mr. Schottenstein, you think you can not go to the gym first? You can go to the gym after you get your hair cut?
Yeah. Turns out you say like, it turns out this is so weird, but it's true. If you go to the gym right before a haircut, your hair will fall out 10 times faster before old age. So I strongly discourage.
I should use that.
But
I gotta say,
studies have shown.
I gotta put it's a scientific fact.
Yeah,
I gotta put that in there first.
Barber school studies have proven
Yes.
that if you go to the gym and then get a haircut, your hair will fall out and you'll go bald 10
Did you,
times.
Did you catch the
faster.
Fauci's last press conference? He was talking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, so what are some other? What do people need to start or stop doing at the barbershop?
Another thing is putting their hands on the side of the chairs. Like, yes, your hands are supposed to go on the chair, whatever you want to call them,
The armrests.
Armrest,
Yeah.
yeah. But when you're a barber and you're sitting there and you got to get angles and hair linings, I graze my balls, man. Like, I don't want to feel like, do I got to take you out after this? Like, you know.
So you're forced to then have to like dodge around people's hands. So what should they do instead? We were talking about this before we.
You put your hands in the middle. You put your hand. You grab your balls. This is what you do. You grab your balls.
You're gonna end up touching balls.
Yeah.
When you're at the barbershop.
But they should be
Either
yours.
you
Make it
grab-
your own.
Either you grab your balls or you're going to get barber balls.
Okay, that's good to know. See, this is very practical
Super
information
helpful.
that we can take and apply. So what he's not saying touch yourself while you're getting your hair cut. That's a very different thing.
Yes.
He's just saying like generally just sort of like cup your lap, let's put it that way. Cup your lap region.
Keep your
and
hands there.
Keep your
Hands
hands
in
there.
your lap.
That's a
Yeah.
good spot that's a PSA for those of you going to the barber. That's good to know.
And don't play with your phone while you're getting your hair cut.
How do you like put on the apron and their hand is up by their neck, like holding the phone out in front of them? How do
Actually,
You gotta do that
I'm
thing.
Listen, I'm a butthole when it comes to that. Like, because a lot of guys come in and they're on their phones while they're, while I'm trying to put the neck strip on, and I'll just throw it over their phone. Like, I don't care.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Now, are you a big fan of I know sometimes shops will have like big TVs right in front of them or up on the thing. Do you like that? Is that part of your setup?
My loft has a TV
Yeah.
in front of the chair, so that way you can see it. And then when I turn you around, there's a big mirror, so you can look
You can see it
Yeah.
behind you.
behind.
Nice.
I want to mention his spot, man.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the place in New Albany is where I met him, and then the place in Gahanna. But then, he's not in a barber shop now. Now he's renting. Essentially, think of it like a studio rental.
Yeah.
He's renting a studio in a facility that is, for lack of a better term, kind of like a co-op community, of
Neighborhood.
it's mostly like salon people. I'd imagine be the kind of place that there's a masseuse there probably with their own business, and they're just renting a spot. So he has his own little room. You go into this complex and you find Ray the barber on a glass door, and it's just a room, a chair, him and you, and a whole bunch of Marvel and DC posters.
Nice, man.
Vintage toys sitting
Nice.
on shelves.
Yeah.
Got the TV behind you.
I was
He's
gonna
got
say, and a
stereo
TV
going.
apparently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so we were watching Chappelle videos on YouTube. It's a really sweet get up. It makes you feel fancy. I'm in
Yeah.
a
I
I'm in a
sometimes
private
also
sesh.
have beverages like how you guys have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
have a little refrigerator. with
We'll get you
drinks in it.
juice for next time, man. Sorry about that.
We'll switch
Yeah.
out. Well, it's funny because I was thinking Cookie Cutters is like a kid's version of a haircut salon, and you're shaking your head. You don't like Cookie Cutters?
I actually send people to cookie cutters. It's
Hey, listen.
You want two
like
kids?
time is money. Like with this, a lot of people now, they expect it to be like the old barbershop. You come in, you sit down, wait for 2-3 hours, and expect to get a haircut. But now everything is, since COVID, everything is scheduled. Like you have to be there at a certain time.
Yeah.
You only get 45 minutes for a haircut, and then I get the next person in. But then these women, because usually the woman bringing in their son, and they want a grown man haircut. They're like, it'll be a 3-year-old, and she'll, I want him to look like Ben Affleck. No, he's not going to sit there.
Get him to the gym.
Then we got to put a tablet in front of him, and then we got to give him a sucker, and then by the time we do all that, it's already 30 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, look, he's not going to be Instagram worthy right after this. It's not. How
It takes so
send
long.
him to
His
cookie
voice
cutters.
is really
So I
low
sent
when
him-
you're done.
Yeah, I wonder if you've ever like gone. I was wondering if you did children. It's funny you say that because I was mentioning cookie cutters, and my daughter likes it because they're like, "What do you want to watch on Netflix?" I wondered if you ever did that, and then have ever done that to like an adult. Like, did you want to watch Coco Melon? You know,
Listen, Coco Melon is your savior. It is. A lot of people hate Coco Melon, but like I have 4 kids. I have a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old, and Coco Melon every morning. I like to eat apples and bananas. Like is And my son, my oldest son, he's 11. He's like, Poppy, why do you keep playing this every morning? It keeps her quiet.
because they keep watching.
Yeah.
It keeps her quiet, and she does a little shake too. Like
Yeah, I have a 4-year-old, so I'm very familiar with Coco Melon. Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe not like do's and don'ts. What's one of your best stories of just like a customer? Maybe don't drop their name.
I mean, you can if you want, but
one of my
Funny story or something that you can't believe happened. Like, what? Did that just really?
I mean, do I have? I don't know. I can't really think. I know, like, I'll be in the car on the way home, like, oh, why didn't I say that? But I really don't. I can't think of one right now. Really,
Like the regret of. Kory talks about this thing where like he almost lives in a state of perpetual like regret and overthinking about what just happened. It's so he lives his life like just lagging behind a little bit, just thinking about what he did the last hour.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
And so Kory will be doing that himself on the way home, thinking like I shouldn't have said that way. But they understood when I said I missed this opportunity.
That was probably awkward. I hope he didn't think when I said that I meant no, because I
He
should
thinks
text him.
I'm racist.
No, I should text him. No, I should definitely not text him because then if I text him, it's going to be weird. It'll be weirder if I text him. Yeah, it'd be weird if I text him, right? Man, I'm getting better though. Therapy's helping. Thanks, Thanks, Patrick.
Oh, I will tell you a bad moment. Like yesterday, I got my first 1-star review
Oh, dude.
by a lady who didn't even get her son's haircut. So she had first of all, she started off wrong. She said, like I called her. It was her time to come in to bring her son in. She was like, yeah, I wanted to line up for my 5-year-old. I don't do 5-year-olds. My thing clearly says 6 to 12. So she started off wrong off there. And then I'm like, okay, well, where are you? She's like, I'm out in the parking lot. I'm like, all right, well, I'm ready for you. Come in. 5 more minutes go by. My next client comes in. And I'm like, all right. So I text her back like, I'm going to go ahead and, cancel the appointment. And she said, well, I have another one at 6:30 for my 12-year-old because I want to get both of their hair done. So me personally, I'm like, you've already messed me over once already. You're just going to have to reschedule for another day. So I told her I'm going to cancel your appointments. You see, appointments. And come 6:30, she's like, I'm on my last person. She comes in and she's like, yeah, I'm here to get a. I'm like, I've already canceled the appointments. And the way the Booksy works is when I cancel the appointment, it sends you an email saying your appointment has been canceled.
Right.
So I know she got it.
yeah.
So then I'm like, sorry, you can go ahead and reschedule. So then I'm like you said, I was like, dang, I should have just said, come on in. I should have cut her hair. But then I get home and I'm talking to my dude and everything. He was like, yeah, man, I need to get my haircut. I'm like, bro, come get your haircut by me. I got 5 stars, 75 people. But then I look at it and it say 76 people. I'm like, okay, let me look at this review. 1 star. I'm like, are you serious? And it starts out as I can't give my review because I didn't get a haircut. I'm like, then why did you put that 1 star on there? You can't give a review if you didn't get a haircut.
Can you reply as the owner and say, I think this was meant for cookie
You
cutters?
could, but I was like, listen, I had some words that I was going to say in the thing, but I was like, no, I don't want. That's petty. I don't want to do it.
It's best to leave that alone.
But what's crazy is God must have put it on her heart. Like, yeah, he's really upset about this because I looked at it today and I'm back at 5 stars because that 1 star put me at 4.9.
Yeah.
Messing up your average.
I feel the same way on Apple Podcasts with our rating. We've got that all 5 stars, but we've just got that 1 4-star lingering out there. And I wish I knew who that was.
We know who that is.
We know who that is.
Who is it?
It's Lily.
It's Kory's daughter.
Have her fix it. Son of a... Gosh.
She's like, well,
You don't
what did
give
she
out 5
say?
stars?
Her logic was something like, well, I figured they would assume that it was just all your friends and family putting 5 stars in, and since you're my dad, I thought, well, I mean, it's really good, but like, there's got to be some 4 stars.
No, there doesn't.
Okay, I'll talk to her.
You just hey, hand me your device. I want to see something.
I'll ground her until she fixes it.
Son of a...
Oh, so speaking of that, I had a 4.9 before that, and it was a guy a little bit further back, and I kind of punked him. I was like, yo, like I knew who it was. Like, yo, you need, because he said, great haircut, cool guy, nice place. So I'm like, okay, that's a good review. But he put 4 stars. And I'm like, why would you put 4 stars if you had a good haircut, good review, right? So I text him like, hey, yo, you need to go in there and change that review, or you can't come back and see me.
Yeah. And then he texts back, you just didn't let me finish my episode of Coco Melon.
No, but he changed it, and I'm back at. See,
Good for you.
You're like the Batman of barbers.
There you go, yeah.
I said, you need to change my stuff right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, if you want a 5-star haircut, how do people find you? Are you on Instagram? Like,
I don't have any social media.
all right,
This is a business?
Due to my wife, you can go to Booksy at Ray the Barber on Booksy.
sweet.
All one word,
Is that
Ray the Barber.
All one word.
Is that BOOKSY? Like
Yeah,
Booksy.com?
It's an app. It's actually app.
Oh, it's an
actual
app.
yeah.
Okay.
So download the Booksy app.
Download
and
the
you use
Booksy
the Booksy app to book him. So it's easy to use. You go on there, you search for Ray the Barber. You'll see his a caricature
emoji
of his head.
Yeah, it's an emoji of me.
That's perfect.
Sweet.
And I know from our statistics for our show, most of our audience is in Ohio. So for all of you people that are in the Ohio area, Ray the Barber, come check him out. Columbus, Ohio area. Just download the Booksy app. Make sure to give him a 5-star review.
But if you have kids under the age of 5,
Yeah.
do not come see me.
Under-
Please go to Cookie Cutters.
5 and under you don't do. So
5 and under.
6 plus. 6 plus for
It's a
Ray the
go.
Barber. Perfect.
That'd be fun if you could get real specific. Like I hate like young teenagers and I hate the tween ages.
Tween.
So I'm gonna do 6 to 10. And then I'm gonna do 16 and up.
So like the 12-year-olds.
If you're 12 to 15, I'm not interested in cutting your
Oh,
hair.
and I don't like 7-year-olds. No 7-year-olds.
And some people should not have the power to rate and review anything.
I agree.
Like this whole Yelp thing, like you can completely ruin a business from one post and no one's verifying the validity of your claim or experience. Like I'm all for empowering people to be able to give honest reviews, but like an angry customer because they got shorted one side dish at their restaurant, like 0 stars, this place had rats. Like no one, like
That's
there's
why
no checks and balances.
That's why I asked about the owner review. I mean, I asked about it jokingly, but I think that's an important part. Like giving it, we don't need a whole like chat debate underneath the review, but at least give the owner one opportunity to reply, to at least explain, because I've seen some of these on Yelp that are like, this place was rude and they wouldn't help us. And then the owner will reply, oh yeah, I remember you showed up with 25 people for an anniversary and wanted a table on the spot and we're mad that you waited an hour
on a Friday night
for 25 seats to be together on a Friday night after a Ohio State Penn State football game or something.
One thing that I always think, like being a business owner before, it was always, they would say, oh, the customer is always right. Until I was a business owner, and I'm like, the customer is absolutely not always right.
In fact, they're usually wrong.
Yes.
And I find it interesting. I spent a good amount of time in like retail and sales and service and stuff. People have no shame lying. Like, no shame lying about anything that might help their case to get something free or discounted, or if they feel like they've been wronged. There's no real sense of like, people almost feel like it's, especially the bigger the company. I mean, it may be different as a sole proprietor or whatever, but like people have no shame just lying if it makes their case look better. And that's unfortunate. Like people need to at least be honest with themselves and go, well, I see what you're saying. I did put you on the spot with a 5-year-old when technically you don't, take 5-year-olds. And then I showed up to try to get both their hair cut in one time slot or.
And but with that too, like lying and cheating to get what you want. Our country was built off of that.
Well, yeah, that's a
Truism.
That's a whole other history episode we haven't done yet.
We'll talk about that in November.
Yeah,
That's right.
But it's still not right. You're right.
Right. Hey, a pretty big trailer drop this week. Do we have time to talk about Kenobi
Are we doing like
What's
the
that?
Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Kenobi?
for the series coming out? The trailer dropped this week.
I've never seen it. I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen the trailer
Who's Obi-Wan Kenobi?
from Star Wars?
No, I'm saying like who played the
Ewan McGregor
Ewan McGregor
is
back.
reprising his role from Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 3.
And even what's his face?
Anakin?
Hayden Christensen is returning as Anakin / Darth Vader, but Darth Vader. because-
No,
I did hear about that.
Liam
What it-
Neeson's voice, I think, is coming back.
Oh, is he?
into it.
Is he
Yeah.
going to?
Yeah, there's speculation
So-
that Liam Neeson will come back and talk to Obi-Wan as a Force ghost.
Kind of like Obi-Wan to Luke Skywalker.
Are we doing quick reactions?
Let's just do a quick reaction to a trailer because we'll get Ray educated on what we thought of it.
So question though,
Yeah.
is James Earl Jones going to be
I don't know.
playing the
It's a
voice?
great question.
Is he doing the voice acting? I don't know.
Well, so multiple people have brought out, and we've talked about the new Rockstars YouTube channel that does great breakdown videos. They broke down this trailer and they said they're bringing back Hayden Christensen for a very specific reason. Because if they were just going to have Vader in the series, you could have any other stuntman play
Right.
Yeah.
Darth Vader. So the fact
I
that
could
they're
do
bringing
it. Well,
back
maybe not me, but like somebody a
Somebody.
little bit more.
So the fact that they're bringing Hayden Christensen back for a very specific reason, because they're clearly going to show his face or some version of him or
There's
whatever.
tons of speculation. I've even seen lists of here's every notable character that's alive during the series and what their series age would be to give people an idea of who
Yeah.
could show up. There's a lot of speculation there's going to be flashbacks in this series. So that might include Liam Neeson. That might include Hayden Christensen as Anakin, Ahsoka Tano. It could include some of the clones. It could include, a lot of people are alive. Han and Chewbacca and a lot of people are alive at this time.
Because this is 9 years before we meet Luke and Obi-Wan in Episode 4, A New Hope.
10 years after Episode 3, 9 years before Episode 4. So right in the middle of 3 and 4.
So question with that.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the young Luke in what's it called?
The prequels?
No, in
No.
no, what's the show that just came that was out before?
Mandalorian?
Yeah, The Mandalorian. Because you remember at the very end, I don't know if you've seen it. You seen The Mandalorian?
Oh, yeah.
So remember when they're in the ship and everything, and young Luke comes through the door.
With the
So-
lightsaber.
Yes,
and
and I'm like-
it takes Grogu.
So I thought
Post
that
Vader.
The Mandalorian was after.
Mandalorian
all
is
of this.
after Episode 6. This is between 3 and 4.
Yeah, that Luke that you saw is post Return of the Jedi Luke.
See, I didn't get that. I'm thinking it was.
Yeah. So in Obi-Wan, they show a scene in the trailer where young Luke is 10 years old, sitting on Owen and Beru's house, pretending like he's flying a fighter pilot,
Or maybe a pod race.
a pod racer
Pod
or
racer.
something.
Maybe pod.
So he's about 10 years old, and it's Obi-Wan's job to keep him protected because Bail Organa has Leia, and Obi-Wan is on Tatooine with Luke, but he's just watching from a distance to make sure nobody messes with him because he's sure that Vader's after him.
Because they didn't show young Luke. They went straight.
They never
to,
show. All you've seen is a baby Luke,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you see him on Tatooine as a whiny 19-year-old. But you've never seen anything between a baby and 19. So this is the first time we're seeing Luke at like 10 years old.
Yeah. So I'll make this fast, I promise.
I can feel my glasses getting thicker.
When
Obi-Wan is Dillon's like favorite character.
I've got a man crush on Ewan McGregor too. When the Duel of Fates music starts, I left a different kind of liquid on the barber chair. You know what I mean? It was. I was
Oh my God.
so excited just seeing.
Wow.
And then the Inquisitors from.
Took it to a whole nother level.
I peed a little. I was excited.
Oh,
Okay, that's better.
okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
much
That's what you
better.
meant. Got it.
So to see characters continuously now coming from the animated shows that were meant for kids to these live action properties is incredible. Like the Grand Inquisitor. I'm just so excited to see how this all goes down with literally Jedi hunting. I mean, that's what this series is going to boil down to. Everyone's after Obi-Wan and the kids. I mean, that's the premise.
And
so
any
like,
other
remaining good guys.
Anybody that survived Order 66.
Survived, yeah. And there could be like Kanan Jarrus could show up. He would be old enough. Ezra Bridger, those are both characters from Star Wars Rebels, the animated series. So like this could be this is gonna be super cool. I'm very excited. More so than Mandalorian, more so than Book of Boba Fett. I'm most excited for this short series.
I see. I haven't finished Boba Fett, but somebody said the Mandalorian came in Boba
Oh, yeah.
Fett.
Boba Fett's kind
gets
of like
so much better.
kind of like Mandalorian 2.5. Like it's kind of like a middling season for Mandalorian going into season 3. So I would fully expect Boba Fett to show up in Mandalorian season 3.
He's hot.
So
Yeah.
I think those two are going to stay intertwined for a while. Anyways, Kory.
No, I'm super excited. When that needle drop of Duel of the Fates happened, I was like, oh, snap. And John Williams is doing the music. And it just looks... Sherry said, of everything I've seen in that last handful of years, that was the most Star Wars-y thing I've seen in a really long time. It
I can
it
understand
felt
that.
like it really honors the original trilogy. And she's like, I'm more excited to see that. And Ewan McGregor's
Ewan
easy out the
McGregor.
eyes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see that. And there are big implications with whatever happens in that series.
That trailer had massive
Big
implications.
implications. And it looks pretty intense, and a lot could happen. So it'll be really interesting to see what's done with that limited series.
It's funny you said the John Williams thing again, because I saw a meme that was something to the effect of Star Wars approaches John Williams about, hey, John, we'd love for you to do some music. It's just a little Star Wars, spin-off series. And then it's the meme of the piano on the beach on fire at night.
Yeah.
Of just this like epic music being reused again for a trailer. Like it's a trailer for a spin-off series. We just need a little music for it. And there we are.
He's like rolling his eyes every time Disney approaches him. Like, seriously? And he just raking it in.
Yeah, rolls his eyes as he's on the way to the bank with his check.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys. So next time that I go see Ray at Ray the Barber,
Yes.
I'm not going to show up just after the gym.
Good.
My hair is going to be smelling like tea tree mint.
Oh, beautiful.
And thanks to our friends over at Artiest Man. And listen, we don't do these plugs shamelessly. We do these plugs because we have a friend. Oh, and he runs a company called Artiest Man, and he makes legit stuff. Stuff that we actually buy and use. Not stuff he gives us. We buy it and use it. And so if you go over to artiestman.com, ARTIUSMAN.com, you get 25% off your first order if you put the middle into the discount box. Their bread and butter has been their beard products, beard oils, beard butters, that kind of thing. But I mean, body washes, soaps, shampoos, conditioners,
Candles.
and candles.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some merch in there too, but he's using the real stuff, the real ingredients. He's not using the fake fragrances. He's putting the actual oils into the products, so they're good for your skin. They're good for your hairs, and you should check them out.
Check him out.
Check him out. Go do that.
I'm gonna have to actually check him on myself.
Check
All
him
right,
out yourself.
do.
He's right here in Sunbury.
Maybe Artiest Man will set up a little shop inside your push some products onto your shelves with the merch. You
listen,
partner
I'm
up with Artiest
He's
Man.
more than welcome to go ahead and do that.
Awesome.
But I mean, it's not a big room.
Big
but,
crew fan,
Like
too.
this room is bigger than.
Yeah, this room is bigger than the shop, but I mean it's cool because it's a 1-chair place. You should check them out if you're in the area. Ray the Barber on the Booksy app, and anything else?
That was good.
Same.
Thanks for being our
Dude,
fourth chair, man.
Thanks so much for coming.
If I
This
knew
is
you
great.
guys were big Star Wars fan, I would have drove my truck, man. My plates say Dark Side.
Nice. And
got
you
a
got
big-
the like Darth Maul kind of Sith thing going on
You
tonight.
do.
I do.
It's
Black and red.
Black and
Yeah,
red.
Is that an
yeah.
ostrich leather bill?
It is.
That is nice.
It is.
Stylish.
All right.
guys.
This has been fun.
See ya.
See you next time.
Peace.
I enjoyed it, man. I really did.
Yeah, dude, you were
coming. That was awesome.
you were all nervous this morning.
You're so
You were
relaxed.
fine.
I
You've
did.
got
I
a-
texted him like a 4-page letter, like, "Hey, man, I just want to."
You've got a voice for podcasting too, man. Like
You
it
do.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Now, when you say, that, are you calling me ugly, or do you really mean that I have a?
I
voice?
mean, your voice is, I don't want to, come off weird, but like your voice is pretty awesome and it's very silky and smooth and I really like it. And it sounds good in my ear holes. No homo.
Yeah.
They're trying to replace that a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm
Unfortunately, it wasn't a face for podcasting.
Just
It was a
slip me his
voice.
number.
I'm not as funny as
I'm
as
happily married, but I love Jason Momoa and your voice sounds awesome.